We good angles? Good angles?
Don't know. Is it
Stunning.
recording? Why am I green?
It's recording. You got a little green man on your face.
Oh, there's one place he hasn't been before.
Oh, well, it's great to be back.
Is this recording now?
We're recording. We're
Oh,
live
great.
from Hackney.
We're live from Hackney.
We're live from Hackney for a brand new series of, well, no, it's not even a series, it's a brand new era of the Waffle Shop. We're going to be here, there and everywhere for the foreseeable. Physically, normally we're mentally here, there and everywhere. But we're back face to face. You're back from gallivanting from
Across the globe.
Yeah, new era of the Waffle Shop. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited that you're here.
I'm very excited to be here. It's been a long time coming. I feel like 2 years ago we had this idea and then I was like, oh, sorry, I'm moving.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shitty thing to do.
It was
to be
really
honest, actually.
We had a good run. We had a good series.
We got in the paper.
We did
The
get
Daily
in the paper. We did.
What a
You got
journey.
told that you were beautiful by a supermodel, which,
Yeah.
I mean, should go on your gravestone, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I know I was about to say it fits in with today's theme, but we don't know what the theme is for today. But I think she was lying. But yeah, no, new
Era. Yeah.
new guest, same old waffle.
Same old
I'm
waffle.
stumbling. Why? I'm nervous.
I know,
Yeah.
but fine. It's
that's
just
right.
me. I know. I know we have this glorious setup, but it is.
No, it's very table manners. So, to be fair, how are your table manners? Because
Well, it's funny you should ask because we have a few new segments. It would not be the Waffle Shop without a few
obviously,
new intricacies. Words. Okay.
Yes.
We are back. This
We're
is
back.
fine.
This is what we normally do. We're chatting shit.
Yes.
We're in Hackney.
We are in
This is
Hackney.
that bit's new.
The waffle.
But we have got a new segment.
We do. That's
You
what
know-
I was
yeah,
trying to say.
yes.
We have a
So
new segment.
You're out of the game for a little bit.
I have. Do you know what? I've been really nervous about today because I was like, it's been so long since I've been behind the microphone.
yeah.
And I realised that I think I've just lost words in my vocabulary over the last couple of years. And now I'm going to have to use them. Anyway, new segment.
New segment.
Table manners related. You
Yeah.
can introduce it.
So it's quite shocking, actually, that for 4 years of hosting the Waffle Shop podcast, this is actually going to be the first time of having a waffle, a physical waffle on the show. Now, normally I start each one of the shows with something that's pissed me off that once I've spoke to my guest about, I feel a bit better, it gets it off the chest. However, I love a pun. I love the stuff that I say has a bit of a reach into what I'm trying to say. So each week, we're now going to be having a waffle with a topping that is linked to a story that has happened to one of us. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does. Inspired by a story of the week. I'm very excited for this. And I know it's your go this week.
Yes.
And I'm intrigued to guess what you have brought. So obviously for anyone watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the waffle. If you're listening, not on YouTube, then we'll do our best to describe it to you.
Yes. And to be fair, I'll get them.
Yeah,
I'll
get the
them.
waffles.
They're waffling about it. Let's get the waffles.
I'm kind of scared. What are you going to put on this? Okay.
So here you go, Emma. Here's the waffles I prepared for you.
That looks bland and dry and boring.
Yes, but as you can see, there is no toppings. Some might say that the toppings didn't turn up. Which leads me very nicely onto something that has pissed me off. As you know, recently I was speaking at an event and had confirmed a special guest, a friend of the show, if you like. Everything was concerned. Everything was confirmed. And said person decided to go for a run around Hyde Park rather than show up to the event, which is fine. Mental health and all that, do what makes you happy. But what the worst part of this story was, obviously the name was on the board. We had like a lineup board and some woman outright said, oh, is he not going to be here? I was like, oh, no, like something's come up last minute. So we've had to change like the lineup. And she left.
Oh my
She's like, oh, I'm going to go and I think do some like vaginal healing or whatever the thing I was on at the same time as.
The absolute shade of this, like I can't.
So yes, Emma, I present to you waffles with the topping missing.
Because it's absent. Which is what happened to you this week.
Yes.
Wow.
I was ghosted. And yeah. It doesn't sit right with me. I think it's actually quite rude.
No, it is rude. It's very rude. I think, like, you know, God, I think mental health wise, yeah, like, oh no, I think that, like, not turning up to something, like, even if you drop a message and say, I'm so sorry, even if it's last minute, if you have an hour to spare, like, a message is still, you know, the right thing to do.
Don't confirm 2 days before.
And then
just not turn up. But yes, you know, we're not petty. We don't hold grudges.
No, we don't.
We don't hold grudges.
I feel like you do.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, don't lie.
You best believe this has been written down in my journal. You best believe there is a voodoo doll on the way from Temu.
Well, as delightful as this is and looks, I'm not going to try it because I feel like it's empty calories at this point.
So it's like the woman
what
who
it is.
refused to sit in my hard work.
Okay, do you want me to take a bite? Tastes like
disappointment. Is what it tastes like. Do you know what I haven't even took a bite, but do you know what it looks like it tastes like? You got ghosted by a member of the Made in Chelsea cast. Should we crack on with the rest of it?
I think we should before we get a lawsuit.
Would you like to introduce our next bit?
I would love to. Oh my God, it's actually so nice to be back. Like, we haven't done this in such a long time.
I know. Too long, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's not the same, like, globally.
No.
Globally.
Zoom is not the one. But it's funny because I was thinking about when we both started in podcasting, like the fact that we have a camera on us now really annoys me still because I'm like, podcasting was always medium where I didn't have to put makeup on or like get ready or like worry about what I'm wearing. And now it's all changed and we have to do that. But
no, it is annoying. The amount of content that I have like on my old laptop of like all these recordings with all these people that I'm just like,
yeah, when it was like Zencaster back in the day, we were doing it in cupboards with like curtains over us. Did you
I've
not?
never done it in a cupboard.
The perfect sound. Anyway, that brings us on to our next segment. Not really, but I'm segueing it.
Yeah,
because
you'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is episode 1. We're just nestling you guys in.
Yeah.
So this is called "Is the Jar Half Empty or Waffle?" We love a pun. It's terrible. Okay, so basically in this jar, we have a selection of topics and themes which have been sent in by listeners and also that we've just like written and done ourselves because, you know, we love to talk about certain things more than others because it's all about us. So yeah, we're just going to pick, I say me, I'm going to do this.
Yes,
I'm going to pick a random piece of paper and that will spark the topic for this week.
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Drum roll, please.
Let's go. That's quite anti-climactic.
Ooh, the theme of this week, Taylor, is lying.
Oh, that's a good subject.
That is a good subject.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
It's not what we planned for.
This is so unexpected. Lying.
Yes. I think it's an interesting subject because you could argue that some lies are quite healthy, but you could also argue that obviously it is the completely wrong thing to do. However, I feel like it's one of those things that everyone has done.
Oh, 100%.
Whether it's for the right reasons, the wrong reasons. So I thought it's just I'd like to dive into it because I feel like there's so many angles that you can take with this. And we put it out on social media, so it kind of ruins the job.
We'll come to that later.
Yeah. Look at us lying straight off the bat. It's off for the topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was really interesting to see like the levels that people had lied about. Have you ever lied?
So I wanted to ask you this. Firstly, do you think you're a good liar?
No, because I can't.
Yeah.
I'm a giggler. So,
Me too.
yeah.
Right. Every
So,
time I lie,
you
I
know,
laugh. Yeah.
And I'm still very prudish. So I feel like whether I've been caught out or I'm talking about something that I shouldn't be talking about, like my face will go bright red.
Yes.
So I feel like when it comes to like lying, it's just, I just don't have time for it. I'd rather just be like, well, no, I fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And deal with it there and then.
I think it's an interesting one because I'm curious about, so I'm like you, I cannot lie to save the life of me. I go really red, I laugh. And I think that's quite a blessing because it just means that people think I'm quite honest. However, what I am guilty of, and what I think a lot of us are guilty of, is withholding the truth. And I wonder whether, does that constitute lying as well? So I'll give you an example, right?
Okay.
I love my shitty rom-coms. The film Valentine's Day, there's this elderly couple in it. They're celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. The woman says to her husband, Edgar, she's like, I'm so sorry. I know it's our 60-year anniversary, but I just have to get this off my chest. I had an affair with you like 40 years ago, like with your best friend. One night only. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't hold it in anymore. So she tells him this, right? 60th wedding anniversary.
Couldn't hold it anymore.
And it's been 40 years. So I'm like, no. It's dark, actually. It's so bad.
I'd actually hate to see how long she's been holding farts.
But he says this wonderful line in it when he's like, his name's Edgar, which I'm already obsessed with. But he says to her, she says, I just wanted to tell you the truth. And he says, well, the thing is, the truth makes everything else seem like a lie.
Oh.
And I think it's really interesting because I don't think that there are many people who can lie. Like, say I said to you, like, am I your best friend in the world? And you were like, no. I obviously know you're lying.
I was going to say, oh my God, that's a lot of pressure.
But
what did you mean, weird eye contact?
Am I? Tell me.
No. No, you're not.
But I think there's a very different thing of like asking someone outright something and then lying to their face, as opposed to having a lie or a secret within you which you're actively not telling someone. I think both are lying, but many of us every day will withhold information from somebody else.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because is it a lie if you're not? Well, yeah, because you're not telling the truth. So technically it's a lie. But at the same time, if you're not, I guess, giving all of the information, is that a lie?
But if no one's asked you outright.
But then is it down to the other person?
It's moral. It's a moral compass thing.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've
an
missed
interesting
you.
concept.
That's the truth.
But it's funny because I was obviously looking up, like, why do people lie? And usually it's because lying allows a person to establish a perceived control over a situation.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, which is why little kids lie, right? So like
They're the worst.
they are the worst. But you know, it's also quite a sign of like intellect. Like
really?
the younger you start to lie, it shows that your mind is actively like, right, well, I can control this situation by lying. So when I was younger, I used to throw my food in the bin all the time because, sorry, Mum, but cooking was not up to scratch. I'm joking. But like I used to throw my food away all the time, right? And I would lie. She'd come in and be like, oh, you finished? I'm like, yeah, I finished, all good, like, all done. Yeah. But because I was aware that if I told her I'd throw it away, I'd get told off. So I would lie. But B, it would hurt her feelings. So I was like lying about it. Do you know what I mean? So like there are instances where I think it's okay to lie.
I used to tell people I could play the piano.
Really?
As a child.
But that's also...
And I couldn't.
But that's like controlling a narrative as well. It's like,
what narrative? I just completely made it.
I'm Mozart.
Yeah, I know that piece of music. I wrote it. Oh my God.
I once retained an entire Dennis the Menace book and wrote it word for word in a creative writing class. Claimed it as my own. Got like, I was like, oh yeah, it's just inspired by Dennis the Menace, like a full episode.
Got an honours.
Yeah. And my teacher was like, oh, this is such a good short story. Like you should submit it for this award. I was like, I can't do that.
Did you submit it for the award?
No, because I freaked out.
One thing I do want to jump into, because you just said something and then immediately after went, I'm joking. With that, because do we do that to kind of protect the other person's feelings? Because I do that a lot. Like someone will say something and my automatic response might be something quite sassy or like quite direct.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, and I'll be like, oh, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Based
When
on
I'm
real
not.
events.
Yeah. But like 9 times out of 10, there's a strong chance that I'm not joking. Is that a lie? Or it's a weird like protectiveness clearly from both sides that like you're either protecting yourself or you're protecting, well, what you think you're doing is protecting the other person by saying you're joking.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's like the difference between a white lie, isn't it? Like I feel like sometimes you can just do a little thing and it's fine.
I wonder why we do it. Like, I wonder why like
do we
our
lie?
immediate reaction would be to be like, oh, like I'm running late. And then rather than say like I left late, you'd be like, oh, the traffic was bad.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it's that whole thing
you could
again.
just say, like,
It's
I left
controlling
late.
the environment,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's controlling the perceived reaction of somebody else
yeah.
to your situation.
I found this fascinating. I'm just going to read out some of like the common lies that people tell,
yeah, go on.
and see what kind of like what you think. I'm almost there.
Yes. Oh my God. Everybody has that friend who, when they say, yeah, I'm 10 minutes away, it's like, right, so you haven't left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you guarantee, you know, like you've got an extra half an hour to play with because they're not outside. Oh, it must have gone in my spam folder. It didn't go in your spam folder.
You know where it was. You've been looking at it for 4 days.
Exactly. Sorry, my phone's been acting weird. It hasn't been acting weird. When in the history of phones has anyone's phone acted weird?
And also, if it has acted weird, chances are you've taken it to the Apple store like immediately because no one can function.
Because you can't live without it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is actually really funny because I still do this to my mom. If I walk in, if I've got like a new pair of trainers on or for a new top or anything like that, she'll be like, oh, I like your top. My immediate thing is like, oh yeah, I got it in the sale. Or, oh, it wasn't that expensive. Why do we do that? Be like, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all you need to
is all you need
say.
But is that a lie when you're saying I got it in the sale?
Well, yeah, because it wasn't in the sale.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I automatically like downplay it. Or I don't know if that's like a self-worth thing, actually. That's probably different.
Yeah.
That's the old era to deal with.
I mean, we can focus on that next week.
Yeah, maybe. Or my favourite one, which I feel like you've suffered with this one quite badly.
Oh, God.
Should we just go for one?
Guilty as charged.
But it's interesting though, isn't it? It's like those phrases are, you would think that I was reading off like some like really like powerful things, but like they're so relatable. It's like because at some stage in our life we've said those things even though they're not true.
Yeah.
And I don't. There must be some kind of like reasoning that our brain does it. Whether it's, again, it comes down to that like protectiveness thing, I guess.
Managing the expectation of others. I think in that like instance of controlling a situation and withholding information, like it's quite evident that the longer you keep a lie a secret, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
And so it becomes more of a lie than maybe when it started.
Yeah.
And then the reaction is worse because it's like, not only have you lied about this thing that happened, but you've also withheld the information from someone for so long.
Have you ever been accused of lying when you were telling the truth?
Yeah, but yes.
Okay.
But the only reason I lie now in life is usually to men. Oh. Like if I'm out and I'm being chatted up or something and I'm like, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a lie. Or, you know, in other scenarios where you might be with someone and they ask you something and you say, yeah, definitely, that was great.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not. But then I've been caught out there because it's like, you're lying. Because obviously I can't lie. How have you been caught on a lie?
Well, do you know what? This is something that I've wanted to talk about for quite a while. And when, obviously, 5 minutes ago, when we pulled the idea of lying out of the jar, I was like, the first thing that immediately popped into my head was a few years ago, I was supposed to be best man at a wedding for someone who I'm pretty sure I only got asked because the guy had no friends.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're listening.
Don't to be past Karen. But that was the reason why I got asked to be best man.
Right.
And then a few days before the wedding, I actually think it was either the day before or 2 days before, I can't remember which, I got COVID. But it was at that time when if you got COVID, you had to isolate for like the 2 weeks, or no, 10 days, I think it was. And there was a lot of like family drama around the same time. And I got accused of lying to get, because people didn't think that I had COVID to get out of being best man, which it wasn't the case at all. Like my speech was written, my suit was like not made for me, but like
ready to go. Yeah.
And then 2 days before, and the only reason I found out is because I couldn't smell a candle in Wilkinson's. I was like, oh no. And I went home, made a coffee.
It's the Rona.
Yeah, it's the Rona. And I had to, the person message to say like, oh, I'm going to drop your suit around. And I had to say like, I can't actually believe this has happened, but you can't because I've got COVID. And then, I got accused of lying about that. And still to this day, I still feel like there's a certain group of people that think I was lying about that.
Really?
And it weren't. It was just destiny. It was just God looking over me.
Saying, you should not be at this wedding.
You should not be at the wedding because they're all a bunch of narcissistic assholes.
Dear me. Talking about not holding a grudge.
I know. But it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also frustrating. Like, I think there are certain people, I'm trying to think, actually none of my friends really that I would think of that I'm like, oh yeah, you lie. But I think certain people embellish stories, which I don't personally have a problem with. Like, I think if you're telling a story and you want to make it funnier, there's nothing wrong with adding a few little more quips in of like what happened in a story. Yeah. Like, I don't necessarily think that's
quite
lying.
Creative, kind of like, especially if you're, like, if it's like for stuff that we do, like you work in TV, I now. Oh my God. I now work in podcasting.
Yes, you
that
do.
was a moment.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. That felt good to say.
I'm working.
But you kind of like, you would elevate the story. Because like you're obviously, if you've got like a good imagination or a creative imagination, you do. And I agree with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Like, I think lying is quite a negative, has a lot of negative connotations.
Yeah.
And I think actually sometimes people get caught up on the little nitty gritty, like, oh, that didn't happen, or no, you're lying about that. And it's like, I feel like a lie is something that's really intrinsically going to hurt somebody else, which I think is why people do lie. Because I think we are all, unless you're, a psychopathic narcissist, like we do care about other people. We've mentioned a few this evening. I think it's just about monitoring other people's emotions. But
have you ever had a friend that lied for no reason? That one friend, like, who used to just like say things that just weren't true. I know, like, we did it as kids.
Yeah, as kids, like, not anymore. No,
because even when obviously you pulled the thing out the jar, which wasn't planned. My immediate thought went to just like a person who I used to be friends with who used to just lie for no reason. And it'd just be like, it's almost like then got to a stage where like I didn't really believe anything that they said, because I was just like, if you can lie over the tiny little like things that like, where does it end?
Yeah, well, I think it is actually like a genuine problem for some people, and it's also a cry for attention. Like, I remember, this is actually really dark, but there was a girl at my school who like lied about having a really bad disease.
No.
And
okay, that's next level.
Got found out, and it was obviously awful because like, parents of other kids had like gone to her parents and been like, I'm so sorry for what she's going through, and they're like, what? Like, she's not. And so I think that's a really interesting dynamic as well, where like, obviously when you're a kid, it's kind of more easily explainable in the sense that you're probably going through stuff and it's a cry for attention and like to be validated and wanted, in the sense that's why a lot of kids lie. But to take it to that extreme, like, I think it is actually something that's intrinsically built quite and like sits quite deep in some people.
Yeah.
That was
I like
dark.
what you said about that being like the cry for attention, because I do think it is. Sorry, I can feel like there's like a bead of sweat. Like, right.
It's hot in here. It's like a greenhouse.
Yeah. But it is like, I feel like it is like a cry for help. You know what I think should bring back? I can't remember who sang it, but obviously I love a song.
I do.
There was a song, and I can't remember who it was by, and the lyrics went, "Chat shit, get banged." I feel like we need to bring it back.
Chat shit, get banged. Bang, bang. Yes, true. Would you lie for somebody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think depending on the situation and who the person was, I think I would.
Would you lie for me?
I think I would. Yeah, I would.
Would you lie to me?
No, I don't have a reason to. And I feel like the reason why, like, you go through like these stages of life, and I feel like I'm in that stage now where I'm very content with who I have and what I have. So it's that little pocket that I'm in. So if it came to like telling, I'd feel like if I needed to lie to a friend, then we probably shouldn't be friends.
Yeah.
But not for anything that you've done, more like I should have no reason to lie to you.
I think that's interesting what you just said about lying to friends, because there are definitely certain dynamics that I've witnessed of like friends lying to friends, or again, withholding information, or maybe making plans and like excluding people, but trying to savor their feelings by like not telling them that they're doing something with somebody else. Like I remember that being quite a big thing in like your early 20s when you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But I think lying to friends is a really tricky dynamic.
It's, to be fair, I'm kind of glad you wanted. I wanted to save this for a later episode, but obviously love a podcast now. And I've been listening to Miss Me. With,
oh my God, me too, with Lily Allen and
Nikita Oliver.
They're both so good.
And they did an episode recently of Listen Bitch, and it was like about Beg friends.
Yeah.
Friends. And I think it was quite interesting because there was a part in it that they were saying like, have you ever not really been invited somewhere, but kind of fished for an invite? Have you ever either been on the receiving end of that or been that person to be like, oh no, like it's just a quiet little thing. Like, it's not my thing to invite you to.
No, I've never been the one to exclude. I have been excluded. I remember once, but I was like year 7. It was not a big, I mean, I still think about it now. So clearly it was traumatic. Oh my God. But like, I remember that feeling of seeing it. It was like photos went up on Facebook or whatever. And it was like 6 girls all in my tutor group who I was friends with, and then not me. And I was like, oh, this has really made me sad. Now I'm not wanted. Like, I'm not one of the popular people. But then again, I don't think I was lied to, because that wasn't...
You just weren't invited.
I just wasn't invited.
NFI.
Not lost in the post. No, just not invited. But that was back in the day when you had to call your like your friend's mum's landline and be like, can I talk to Thingy, and then invite them through your like secretary who was your parental guardian.
My PA.
I'll just pass you back to my PA and make an arrangement. They're going to pick.
Mom! They're asking me to play piano. Oh my God. I feel like I'm getting a little bit delusional.
It's really hard.
Or delusional.
Delusional.
Don't worry. We did a bit of research, again, with the lies. And I thought I'd reach out to a few people who would be interested in either sharing a lie that they used to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Or... just genuinely wanted to be involved in the show, because we were trying to make it more interactive.
Nice.
And,
we love our
it's
listener
nice
chats.
to be spoken to. So
it's nice to have a DM.
And I thought I'd obviously read some of them out.
Yeah, go for it.
To be fair, the top one was mine, and I tried to make out it wasn't mine. But I used to tell people that I could play the piano. That wasn't from a listen. That was from you. 90% of these are from.
I'm joking.
No, I'm joking.
You're lying. You're lying.
I'm joking. This one actually is me. I used to work at a job that I absolutely hated, and I called in sick as I thought it was a good idea to drink milk to help my hangover. It obviously didn't help my hangover. It also was the day that I realised I was lactose intolerant.
I was going to say, aren't you? You can't have dairy.
It was a dark day.
Dear.
I had a few from like parents that I know that they were lying about eating their children's like Halloween sweets or like the rest of their chicken nuggets and their Happy Meal. Also, a big one was about toys as well. About people taking the batteries out of kids' toys because they can't stand the sound of them.
Yeah.
I personally am that friend who will buy the noisy. I don't have kids.
See, we do. It's shocking that. We do lie a lot to children. Did you ever, when you were growing up, did your parents ever say like, oh, you know, it's too cold for snow. You know, those really random lies that parents would say.
Got pizza at home.
Pizza at home, yeah. One of mine, which my dad still does to this day, which I honestly believed till I was about 16. Whenever we drove around, like, no, yeah, that one. But yeah, we lie like tooth fairy. Parents lie to us all the time. It's no wonder it's literally in our DNA. But no, my dad does this thing where he's like, Hedge Pig. So like whenever we're driving around the countryside,
I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if he just...
He'll like beep his horn and be like, Hedge Pig. And when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I missed it. Like, I've never seen a hedge pig before. And obviously they don't exist. And it literally got to like, I think I was with my like one of my first ever boyfriends, and I was telling him this thing about hedge pigs. He was like, Emma, that's not a thing. And I was like, oh. Then she went down to my dad. I was like, you lied to me.
Now, size of that hedge pig.
You see the size of Hedge Pig? He still does it. He'll pick me up from the station after I come home from London or something, and he'll be like, Hedge Pig. I'm like, yeah,
that's
it's a good
quite
one.
sweet.
No, it is sweet, but
do you still look?
Obviously, he's beeping the bloody horn.
You never know.
Sorry.
To be fair though, it is a good point, because one of the ones, and I think it was either my mum or my nan used to say this, that when I was younger, like in primary school, like if you lost a tooth, it was because you've been kissing someone else.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a girlfriend in primary school who lost a tooth, and I dumped her because
she
I
was too
accused
gappy?
her of cheating on me because she'd lost a tooth. Oh God!
Poor girl. That's
No wonder we're
traumatizing.
like fucking traumatized.
Yeah. That's funny.
Another one was, I once made up an elaborate lie that my family had travelled to Scotland where I saw the Loch Ness Monster. I've never been to Scotland. See a hedge pig. Hedge pig?
So a hedge pig in Scotland. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. This is the thing.
Someone else put, I convinced people that I was an extra in the first 3 Harry Potter.
Do you know what? That is a phenomenal lie. That
no
is a
one would know.
phenomenal lie.
Because it was at that time when we didn't really have like phones or social media when
You'd have
those
no
films were in.
idea.
So you could be like, what is that doing there?
And with the right age as well.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I
that
was
on your
actually
hinge.
standing for Draco Malfoy.
I mean, maybe.
It was a while ago, Ella. Grew my hair out. To be fair, why are these all like segmented really well? I once told someone I loved what they had done with their hair. Deep down, I hated it.
Okay, so this is a good one. So anyone who's in a relationship, obviously, when your partner gets like a new haircut, a new look, maybe a new shirt, do you lie?
Can I answer that with a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever met a friend's significant other and told your friend that you liked them,
When you didn't.
but you didn't? You talk too loud, so that's a yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you lie to your friends?
Yeah. No, do you know what? That's a great point.
You're as bad as your dad.
I am. Thank you, Bruce. Fucking hell. Now, do you know what? That's actually such a good question. I probably have done, yeah. Yeah. Again, to conserve. Because then what is I think there is a thing of being too honest.
Yeah.
And I think that you really need to time your lies in terms of if I would tell someone that I really cared about if I thought that someone, obviously if that partner was I thought was bad news or whatever, but if I just didn't like them, I thought they were a bit boring, I'd be like, well, what's the point in me saying I think your boyfriend/girlfriend's beige. That's just going to make our friendship shit.
Awkward.
Yeah. So.
And for some, that they'd probably pick the significant other over you in that situation as well.
Yeah, probably.
She'd become the difficult one. Such an lies are
I know.
actually mental.
I could actually talk about this all day.
Yeah, I didn't think it would actually be this is just rolling off the tongue. It was actually, we haven't actually looked at any of them. No, it's not that we made any because obviously
we didn't know
pulled this out
it was
the
going to be lying.
But it's actually a really good talking point.
It is, isn't it? Have you lied to, what's the to round it off, I guess then? What is the worst lie that you have ever told or been told?
I love you. Oh. No, I'm joking. That was actually a joke. That was awful. I shouldn't. No, we can take that out.
No, that's funny.
Is it?
Wait, no, do it again, but say I love you.
I love you.
Oh, imagine. Oh, God. That's
And not because, this isn't a recent thing,
No.
by the way, for anyone who's listening. This isn't a recent thing. But I have said it in the past because the other person had said it.
Yeah.
and I just wasn't there yet. But I said it anyway, again, to either protect the other person's feelings, but I just wasn't feeling. And obviously the relationship came to an end anyway, like soon after. But yeah, I think that's probably what popped into my head when you first said that. That's where directly my head went.
That's such a, I mean, that's not a good one. That's terrible. But
Hedge Pig.
Yeah.
All right. Now judging me.
It's such a good point though. Like, I feel like, I mean, that's a whole thing in itself, like lying to spouses or in relationships or when you're not ready to say something and you say it anyway, because it is just a word and it's just a little white lie and it probably doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, you're like, oh, fuck, actually never really.
You remember 10 years ago when I said I love you? Lol.
Oopsie. That is
divorce.
savage though. I think it's so difficult because it's also awkward. And again, I know we're repeating ourselves, but it comes back to that, like controlling the reaction of somebody else.
Yeah.
Like in the moment, I think I will lie if I know that it's gonna protect that person.
Yeah.
Even if 5 years down the line it would hurt them. Which is why, going back to that shitty rom-com, like you can obviously tell why she lied, because she was like, that was a mistake. I want to be with him forever. And they were together forever. And so in that essence, it's like, did she need to tell him?
It's a moral thing.
It's
isn't
such
it?
a
It's
moral thing.
But you're also not getting away with answering that question yourself. So nice try.
I don't know what the worst lie I've ever told.
Really? Go on.
Actually, there is one I can think of, and I've wanted to get it off my chest for quite a few years. The lie is that...
Did you honestly think we were going to dive into that? That's for my ears only.
I would never divulge such things. Tune into our subscription only.
So thank you so much for joining us for a waffle, physically and mentally. I don't know where I was going with that. But it's so good to be back waffling with my podcasting lying wife.
Yeah, you know when you asked me if I wanted to come back and I said yes, that was a lie.
Whose house is this?
Where are we?
Please help. No, it's been great. And it's like, it feels right. Like I feel genuinely like I've waited again. Like I feel good for this. So thank you so much for obviously joining me for a waffle.
And before we go, I do want to also say huge congratulations, round of applause, please, to Taylor for getting a nomination at the British Podcast Awards. I'm so proud of you. I'm looking at the goosebumps. No, literally, like the reason I wanted to come back on this show is obviously because I love you, but also seeing it grow. Lies. Seeing it grow so much from 2020 when we were just little babies in this, and now you are bloody like nominated for a podcast award. Like, that's insane. And you're just so talented and amazing, and I feel so grateful that you would have me here. So thank you, and I can't wait for this new era of podcasting fun.
Bring it on.
I'm
going to start doing this thing, which I probably should have been doing from day one. If you like what you've heard, subscribe, get involved. Let us know what lies you have told, to either for petty sake or to protect yourself. But get involved. Obviously, we're making this way more interactive, and we want to hear more from you, lovely lot. Yeah. So like, share, subscribe, all that other shite, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you then.
Bye.